Welcome to Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. We're going to be doing the start of a February Q&A show. So definitely keep all of your chats coming into the comment section for us. And then we'll definitely start answering some of those live. But before we do that, Mark, do you want to kick us off with a wristwatch check? What are you wearing?
So I am wearing my Omega Seamaster 300 chronograph regatta.
Very nice.
There you go. 44.25 millimeters by about 18 with the dreaded HEV. What a wonderful thing. Offend everybody with this one.
Very cool. And that's one that it never came on a bracelet. You've always had it on the strap.
It came on a bracelet, but I never intended to wear it on the bracelet because I knew I could get the Hirsch black and yellow strap.
Yeah, because that matches. It looks like that comes with it.
It looks like it should come like this.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But I never intended to wear it on the bracelet because I knew I could get this strap.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I will. I've got my little tag on. So I've got my tag. I put it on a red strap because I need to put it back on the metal strap because I quite like the metal strap. But it's actually surprisingly, because it's got a short lug to lug, wears really well. So you could get away with it. Even though it says it's 42, it wears more like a 39, I would say. But yeah, I put it on this red strap because we're going on a Virgin cruise and you have to wear red stuff. So I was like, Helen's like, what are you going to wear that's red? I'm like, well, I could wear a watch strap. So I've just been trying different watch straps. Yes.
The Monster would be the only thing I've got that would fit.
So you how long have you had that now? A week, 2 weeks?
Probably just about 2 weeks now.
What's your thoughts on it? I know you were impressed at the start.
I could nitpick the design. It needs a bezel, doesn't need the dome sapphire. It needs a bezel instead. Biggest nitpick is that the lume on the indices lasts forever, but the hands are gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes a problem with I suppose it is a micro brand, isn't it, really? But that consistency between the hands and the indices.
But if you put it next to the upside down Citizen, you can see that it would look so much better with a bezel, a dome sapphire, or even a flat sapphire, smaller indices and matching the lume. Simon did the case, the bracelet, the dial, the way the date matches on the dial are all great. But I think the indices are over-designed. If ever a watch was crying out for either this sort of bezel or a Globemaster style bezel, not the Rolex fluted one, but the Globemaster style, it's this one. I mean, it's a lovely watch. Seems to keep good time. It's very comfortable to wear. I'm just nitpicking the design. It's a great watch and a great first effort.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, good for him. Hopefully he'll come back on the show soon. Eric's asking, is that an Artem strap? Do you know what? I got this off AliExpress, actually. Eric, I'll send you where I got it from. I found out that you can get, even on AliExpress, if you just go for ones that aren't like the super cheap ones, are actually pretty decent. But it came with the little, I don't know what, is that a deployant clasp? That's like what Omega have, isn't it? With the, I don't know what you call that.
It is a deployant clasp, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it fits quite well. And I got another one as well, like a cut to fit red one as well. So I got a bit carried away with the. In fact, it was funny because the person, the delivery, it came by a courier, which was weird from AliExpress, and the courier only spoke Spanish, and I didn't realize this, but the latest Apple Intelligence on your phone, I just added the Apple Intelligence, it automatically translates. So I was texting her in Spanish, I was texting her in English, but it was translating it as Spanish, and then vice versa. So we're having a conversation in both of our languages over text, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
technology.
I'm waiting for a white strap for my CC.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Because my intention was not to wear it on the bracelet, but to get it on the white strap. And the white straps are out of stock until the middle of February, so it's on the bracelet.
Yeah, I bought the strap from the Tide, the glow-in-the-dark strap for the Extreme that I've got. It's awesome. Christopher Ward do a really good job of their straps, and they have, well, I say they do a really good job. They actually messed that flipping Velcro one up big time. But the other two, because I did like a 3 for 2, so I got a bluish turquoise one for my Dragonfly. I got the glow in the dark one, and then I got the the orange Velcro one. But that new, in fact, let's talk about, whilst we're waiting for sort of questions to come in, why don't we talk about the Pan Am? So I reviewed this. Mark, you did a text review, but you've not seen it in person, have you? You've just seen the renders of it.
I've seen the press images and I've seen videos like yours, Sam.
Yeah. There was. I know it's been. I thought, to be quite honest, I'm surprised this hasn't completely sold out. There was only 707 made. There seemed to be. I honestly thought this was going to sell out in the first hour. In fact, I accidentally they moved the embargo forward a couple of hours, and I just didn't. It was just one of those things where I didn't do the calculation correct in my head. So my review didn't go live till an hour and a half afterwards. And I was panicking because I was thinking it's going to have sold out by the time basically wasted my time doing this, because it's going to be sold out. But I'm surprised to see it's not sold out. I know the comments the comments that I've had on the upload, and let me know in the chat what you guys think, was that people felt the size was too big. I like the size cuts because I like 42mm watches, and the light catcher case is so wearable. And then also the loom. I did call out the loom in my review. I also called out the IATA codes because I was just saying they're a bit obscure. Like, to use the bezel, you'd have to know. And I only knew a few of them, and I travel quite a lot. But does actually, before I see Eric's asking, does someone own yeah, there is a holding, as far as I can work out, there's a holding company that owns the Pan Am brand, and that's who Christopher Ward collaborated with, because you can type in like panam.com and it brings up this company, and they do sell some merch.
It's called Pan American World Airlines.
Okay.
And they are planning to bring the airline back in some form. So Pan Am was originally Pan American Airlines.
Yeah.
Was that for a very long time, I think, till they went broke. And then Pan American World Airlines have acquired, as I understand it, the rights to the brand and are planning to bring it back.
Yeah, you're right. Pan American World Airways LLC. Yeah, so it looked like they did holidays. Oh, look at that. They've got, actually, I didn't know that they put that on. So they've obviously put the Christopher Ward watch front and center there. So yeah, look, travel. I think this is like they sell package holidays and stuff, and there's a bit of merch. Or maybe they're going to do hotels and stuff, maybe. Looks like it's sort of curated.
There are plans to bring it back in some form. And I thought I'd seen that they were actually going to fly again, but it won't be the huge fleet they had before, clearly.
So they sold some of it. I wonder how they'll do that, because they sold some of it off to Delta. I think even United Airways or something. Because when I was researching it, not that I did a lot of research in it, Watch Chris actually did a really good review, because I think his grandmother worked for Pan Am briefly and stuff. So he had like a ton of history in there. But so he says, so Mark's saying Pan Am owns the Pan Am trademark. They don't fly anymore, but exist as a flight training company. Interesting. So I wonder whether it would be planes run by Delta, but the livery is Pan Am, I wonder.
Well, you can dry lease an aircraft, which is you supply the crew, or you can wet lease an airline, which means that you take on crew, you take on whoever owns the airline's maintenance and so on. So they don't have to buy planes; they could lease them. And if you don't have your own crews, you wet lease the plane.
Yeah, is that why? I mean, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here that I don't know the answer to. But when I fly Delta now a lot, but I used to fly American a lot, and then American had that American Eagle flight.
Yeah, that was their short flight.
Right. Okay. So that wasn't like a wet lease or whatever you say.
It could have been. It could have been, and I just don't know which way. I think some of them might have been American and some of them might have been leased, but I can't remember.
Yeah. So going back to the watch, so yeah, the price, yeah, the Timex watch, yeah. So we've got Timex watch is $250. That's correct. There is. I'll talk about this a bit, because there is a lot that's gone into this. This fabric strap is amazing. So they actually tried to get actual Pan Am seatbelt fabric, but they couldn't get it. They either it's perished or whatever. So they got the closest thing. Excuse me, the closest thing that they could get to it. And the way that they've created the fabric strap is that it's got inbuilt. So it's the thickness of a double pass NATO, but it's got the spring bars sewn into it. And I think the strap itself is a really, really nice addition to it. I wonder if I doubt they'll sell it separately because it's got the Pan Am logo on it, but maybe they'll do something similar. It would be a shame for them to have created such an innovative way of making a fabric strap and then just leaving it as this one-off. But it is a good-looking watch. The loom for me is too
much.
Yeah, it's too much because the watch itself isn't. It's vintage inspired in the fact that it's Pan Am, so it's a vintage brand, but the light catcher case isn't a vintage design, and it's got a flat sapphire crystal. There's an incredible amount of effort that's gone into matching the blues. So they've had to match the blues of the dial printing, the hands, the rehort, and the aluminium bezel as well. So different, probably at least 2 or 3 different materials that they've had to apply the paint to, and they've kept their color consistent, which I called out in the review. I was really impressed by that.
I mean, I like a Pepsi GMT. I've got the Mido as my Pepsi GMT. When I saw this, I so wanted to buy one. I very nearly phoned up Patrick and said, put my name down for number 15 before it went on sale. But then you take a closer look at the press images, and I don't like random use of old radium loom. So in some watches it works. My C8 Flyer has radium loom on it, and it works because it's part of the design. So often you see old radium loom or similar used as a way to link to some vintage element.
Yeah.
And it's overdone. It's boring now. This trope needs to die. And why would you not use a white dial and white loom? No Pan Am aircraft flew with an eggshell fuselage. They were white. And, these days there's lots of places to put this amount of money. You could buy a standard Lumiere for about this. You could buy
Extreme.
a Le Bond Attraction, which was, the watch I should have mentioned as a new watch last week, but forgot to. I've got a birthday coming up. This would not be my birthday watch because I don't like the.
Yeah, it's so. I think the Extreme that they did is amazing. I've still got it, although I've been wearing this. Whenever I get a new watch, I just wear that exclusively for a while. But I will go back to the Extreme. That's got it's a slight, not creamy, but it's
definitely
hue.
Off-white. It's definitely off-white, and it looks odd. To me, it looks odd.
Well, on this one, yeah, the Extreme, the solid
and on the Extreme.
Yeah, but it's not as the problem with this is you're right. The dial is a sort of, I described it as a champagne color. It's not really It's not really champagne as you would think. But I describe it. But the loom is. I've never liked aged loom because, well, first of all, I've got over it now, but also I used to feel dead weird about it because it was kind of celebrating a material that was actually horrendous to the people that, radium loom was horrendous. I think the first ever, what was it, health and safety or a group of people suing a company, class action lawsuit against a company, was those radium girls when they had those, horrific injuries from applying radium onto the dials of watches all that time. I don't feel like it's something to be celebrated really, but I don't feel like that now because sometimes on a dial it does offer that difference, that kind of, slightly off-white loom. I was more not liking it when there was that period where everyone was doing like really brown loom, like the Omega No Time to Die. Really, the loom is quite brown. This is sort of, I described it as a spilt tea, but I just don't think, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't think it works here. Somebody made a great, great comment.
Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody made a great comment about the 20th anniversary one that was made for the Forum, which had the indices were a blue. The indices themselves were like a metallic blue. It was on a 12, granted, but I don't. The metallic blue wouldn't have worked here, but maybe they could have gone partly to match the indices and made the indices themselves blue and made the loom white. I don't know what we think about that.
Like I said, I came very close to buying it and then realized I didn't like the loom. I know it's the same reason I don't have a First Omega in space. You know, we came out with that gorgeous dial and slapped cat vomit loom on it.
Yeah.
And at least as far as I'm aware, Omega know that a lot of people didn't buy that because they didn't like the loom color. Got to be careful. It, you know, not that I need another reason not to buy a watch, but this was, for me, a case of I really, really want this watch, but I'm not going to do it because of the loom color. It's just wrong.
Yeah. I tell you what, if this had been a TWA one and it had been the red and white or a red and black, or like a Swiss Air or something like that, where it was like a black and a red, I think I would have been quite tempted. If it was a TWA one, I would have been really tempted to buy it because that's also a fond brand as well. The Eric's saying that part of the price is probably some
Almost
sort
certainly.
of royalty. Yeah, almost certainly. But then, but like I think Mark said earlier in the chat, there is Timexes that are about the 300. So I don't know. Maybe it's a sliding scale.
The volume would be much higher. It's probably a different holding
That's
company
true.
when Timex did it. And how much do you get? Do you get 10 or 20%? Who can say?
Because Breitling have done one, haven't they? Also Zodiac. I'd forgotten about Zodiac. Somebody mentioned it in the chat, didn't they? But I'd forgotten that Zodiac had done one as well. I like that Breitling one, actually. I really like that Breitling one. There's a couple that are going for like $5,000, which is amazing because it was nearly 11 grand when it came out. I saw that I saw one in person I was on a cruise in Jamaica. Very nice. Okay, so let's any last words on this one? And we've got a couple of questions coming through. I'll stop this. Okay. So Thomas, who was going to join us, but I've used this new streaming software and he couldn't get it working, so we'll work on it for next week. But Thomas asks, favorite movie watch? Seiko, Giario, Ripley, Hamilton, Nerf, Omega, No Time to Die, GoldenEye, Seamaster 300. Yeah, so from Jaws, Seiko Willard, Arne Santa. Do you have a favorite movie? I've asked you this before, haven't I? You don't have a lot of movie watches that you like, do you? I watch a lot of movies, so I do have like favorite movie watches, but
I always struggle with this. I think Seiko did a watch for something, I think it was called Appleseed. It was either Seiko or Citizen. So Appleseed was an anime, and they did this off-the-wall watch to go with it. Didn't Hamilton do, which movie was it that they had the sort of Anna Digi watch that looked quite cool?
Yeah, it was Tenet. It was the Tenet one.
Yeah. But you know, it's not a movie watch, but I would always pick the Casio titanium Gundam watch where they laser ablated the titanium.
Yeah.
That would just be my favorite Link watch.
Yeah, I like that watch. It's a pity that I actually did have an opportunity to buy one, but it's got a negative display, and I never liked that negative display.
And it's also $1,700, and you couldn't wear it just in case it scratched.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
And then you'd ruin it.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, especially Hamilton. Do you know? I just watch. If anybody likes action sort of TV shows, that Terminal List obviously was amazing on Amazon Prime. But then the follow up or the spin off series, the Terminal List Grey Wolf, was really, really good. And there was a lot of watches in that. There was vintage watches, but then the main protagonist had a Tudor 39, Pelagos 39, and there was all sorts of really cool watches in that one. Even it's funny how you watch like TV shows now, and there's so many different watches that become sort of part of the character. Especially in that one, the watches were like heavily used in there. But yeah, there's so many different. I wish that Tennant watch, to be honest, had actually been Annie Digi. They never did it. They just used the Sub-Zero or whatever it was called and just reskinned it. But they should have made that. The new Resident Evil game is coming out, and they've made the Pan American watch the one that's normally blue. They've made it the John Player special colours. Have you seen that one?
Not yet. I'll just comment on Pedro Manuel about the airport code for Zurich being wrong on the Christopher Ward.
Oh, yeah.
That was on the prototype. It is supposed to be fixed on production watches. So, yeah, good spot, but I believe it's been fixed for production watches.
Yeah, it absolutely has. In fact, I told them to I said, you should keep the misprinted one. The one they sent me was misprinted. I had a prototype and it was misprinted, but I did put them side by side and then I did put them side by side and showed the difference. But yeah, it was quite a quirky one there. But do you ever play Resident Evil games?
I don't think I have. I'm more of a 4X gamer than anything else.
Yeah, the Resident Evil, I love that genre of sort of action horror. Let me just show you.
I've played them, but it's been things like Bioshock and Bioshock 2 on the PlayStation.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love I love the Resident Evil games. So they've done the Pan American, but in like a John Player special.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah, so you can see it there. It does look pretty cool. And they've got this other one as well. But yeah, I think one of the main protagonists is going to have this. It is going to be their watch. Awesome. Did anyone? Oh, yes, somebody, yeah.
The Dune watch. Definitely shout out to the Dune watches.
Yes. Yeah, Patrick's got those, hasn't he? Patrick Pocket Watch Time has got those. Somebody's asking, do you think they'll do a 44mm Extreme? Well, it's a Sealander, and they've never done a Sealander above 42, I don't think. I think the Extreme is 42, isn't it? The normal Sealanders are mainly 39, and I think the Extreme is 40.
The Extreme was a very different watch, and it really shouldn't have been a Sealander. They brought, because it's a different case. It's got the push-in crown, etc., etc. But that was 40 or 41, and then the rest of the Sealanders have been 39 or smaller.
Do you know what's interesting? I took the Beta bracelet from the Pan Am, and because I was going to do some outdoor shots with the bracelet, and sometimes if they're prototypes, I don't adjust the bracelet. So I thought, I'll take the bracelet from the Extreme that has a light catcher case and put it on the Pan Am, but it didn't fit. Even though they were 22mm lugs, it was actually a different profile at the lugs, which is very bizarre for Christopher Ward to do that. They almost never do that. That Beta bracelet, I think, is ubiquitous across most of the models, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But would they do a 44mm Extreme? Maybe, but proportionally, I think it looks perfect. The size it is, the way the indices are and everything, I think proportionally it's really good. Also, if you made it a 44, you'd have the extra weight of the loom on the hands, the extra solid loom. So I wonder whether that would throw the timing off.
Although they could use proportionally smaller blocks. But you've still got mass at the end of a lever, so not enough of a watch designer to know. I suspect it's possible, but it might just be more work than it's worth.
Yeah. Okay. So Pedro's saying, if you could choose between Fairer and Christopher Ward, who would you choose?
CW, mainly because they still make big watches.
Fairer are really good watches. Their single pusher, mono pusher chronograph is gorgeous. They sent me one in for review. In fact, I'm just negotiating with them for them to send me their sort of naughty Nautilus one, and they're very well made. To me, they're different companies. They're very distinctive difference. So you wouldn't be disappointed with either. I like Christopher Ward's aesthetic more, so I buy Christopher Ward's more. But the Fairer watches are very well made. I really like them as well. Okay, so I remember the CW staff at Wind Up mentioning. Okay, let's have a look. I remember the CW staff at Wind Up mentioning for me that the 12 Chrono was in the works. Have you heard anything about it? I hadn't heard that. Have you heard that?
If I have, it would be vague rumors, but I think C12 Loco using CW003 and the C002 that should come out May, June, fingers crossed. I think that's taken priority. Christopher Ward have never been that successful with chronographs. So apart from the Valor, which is the quartz, which is a lovely little watch to be fair, but they've never had much success with chronographs. I would assume that a Valjoux Solita 500 chronograph would probably fit the case, but it would get thicker as well.
Well, yeah, they made that vintage, that retro chronograph, didn't they? And it was very thick. I remember Chris, who I used to do the podcast with, he had it, and that was his complaint, was that just how thick it was. So, yeah, maybe they would make it quartz. I mean, the problem with them doing a chrono is that it's kind of very much seems like they're doing but anyway, let's have a look.
Like I said, they've never had much success in selling them.
Yeah, there's a couple I know that they put a lot of effort into, especially the compressor, isn't it? And when I've spoke to Mike, he wishes the compressor. I think their compressor was one that he hoped would do very well, but I think they struggled with that. They should put the date on that, but that's a story for another time. So Mike's saying CWR doesn't stand for casual watch reviews any longer. It stands for It has always stood for Christopher Ward Reviews. It's just that it's stealth. Casual Watch Reviews is the stealth name for it. But secretly, it's always been Christopher Ward Reviews.
And let's face it, Mark, with Sam and I on here, you've got no choice.
You've got no choice.
If we had other guests, we might not have rabbited on about CW so much.
We're sponsored by Christopher Ward, just Christopher Ward don't know it.
And don't pay us.
Yeah, don't pay us. We're the worst type of shill.
Deal ever.
Yeah, exactly. Worst, I know. Worst sponsorship deal ever.
And in fact, we pay them by buying the watches. There's something wrong.
Yes. So let's have a look. So CAD mouse, there might be a clue in the name here. Do big brand manufacturers lean on perfect CAD models for promotional materials instead of filming actual watches? Yes, they do. There is a lot of renders, isn't there, that are used? I think most brands use renders these days on the websites instead of the actual watch. I think like a car company, isn't it? A car company just has. In fact, have you ever seen those behind the scenes when they do a car ad? And basically, it's just like a guy on a giant go-kart, and it's like it's like a go-kart, but then the wheelbase expands to what the car's supposed to be, and it's got all the dots all over it. So then when they film the car commercial, yeah. But I think that's actually a shame. Well, is it a shame about the renders? Because sometimes it's very hard to photograph a watch, isn't it, consistently? Some people do awful jobs at it. But yeah, I think most of them are renders actually nowadays. Certainly Christopher Ward, I think the majority is renders on that. A Tudor, I've just been doing a Tudor one. Which
they hadn't used to be.
No.
They used to work with a photographer who spent a lot of time getting the lighting right. Not sure that's the case now, though.
Yeah, the actual photographing of watches is so hard. I think the only one that can actually do it properly is Adrian at Bark and Jack. Because he's got, if you've ever seen him, like his full setup, he's got the diffusers and the light in all the different angles. I mean, I've got a huge, it's not here, but I've got a huge fill light, but getting it dialed in and getting the dust off because you can do an entire macro shot and not realize until you're editing it that there's a tiny fleck. And there is actually, more often than not, you'd be surprised that watches many thousands of dollars still have, my Braymont's got dust under the dial that you can only see in macro. So my Rolex had an ever so slightly misprinted 5 on the rehaut. So the macro shots are really tricky to get right. So I could see why they do the renders. Also, they want to get the hype up before the actual production ones. So let's have a look. So let's go back here.
There was a question from Thomas about integrated bracelet watches, I think.
Let's have a look. Yeah. Do you have a love or hate relationship with integrated bracelet watches, or feel strongly that they should be obliterated or carry on being explored? So I think Thomas has given away his feelings in that answer. I don't have an integrated bracelet watch. I like the 12, the different dial. I didn't like the first dial variants, but I like the subsequent dial variants of it. But I can't think of another integrated bracelet watch that I've really gravitated to. Maybe the Tag Link watches are integrated bracelets that I don't think are too bad, but that's because it's part of the design. Obviously, the 12 has got a really nice integrated bracelet, although that is technically removed. It is a removable bracelet. I can't think of a watch that's not. The PRX, that bracelet is technically removable as well. Same with a lot of the Citizen watches. They're just tiny little spring bars in there.
And the Monceau,
yes,
we know.
Yeah, I'm indifferent about it. I think that there's still, I think each year we think that it's run its course, but then somebody else brings out another one, don't they?
I have a Constellation Meteorite integrated bracelet. What bugs me is that people think, was it the Royal Oak was the first integrated bracelet watch designed by Genta?
Yeah.
Wrong. He designed some of the constellations in the late 60s for Omega when he was an Omega designer. So the first integrated bracelet watch is actually
awesome. Yeah, in fact, there is some vintage Omegas that, because Omega seemed to have a lot more fun, didn't they, back in the day? I mean, they're having some fun now, but there was a whole line of LCD Speedmasters, wasn't there? They made quite a few of them, and then they made that quirky one that was like had double time on it and stuff. They seem to have like a lot more fun back in the day that they don't really do now. They kind of just stick to their bread and butter. So let's see. Okay. So let's have a look. Well, we've got this coming in thick and fast here. Let's just see, make sure. The mono pusher looks okay. The legibility might be iffy. Maybe he's talking about it's a shame that. Okay, so Thomas is talking about Awake watches in Dubai. Is that Awake the one that's owned by the people that run the Dubai Watch Week? Or is that different? I don't know them.
Don't know them.
Okay, let's have a look here. Hacken Jack posted a new video on the CW new model around 520 mins big block dial. Hope it's a bigger Lumiere. Well, he put it in the thumbnail, didn't he? But I don't know if it's under embargo, is it still?
No comment.
No comment. But we'll comment on that when we know if the embargo's been lifted or not.
But if you listened to, and I know you would specifically have not listened to this one, Sam, there was Ricky did an interview with Andrew Morgan for the Monday show, and he kind of said, Adrian's doing a collaboration. And then Adrian put out an interesting video yesterday or today about a company he'd visited who are in Beale. So you can put things together.
Yeah. It's it's funny. Yeah, we won't. Anyway, we'll move swiftly on from that one. So, what are your thoughts on? Hang on, I'm going to murder this. What are your thoughts on? Okay, so thank you for that. It's a micro brand from Germany that sells field watches. Looks like they're. Well, let's pull it up because I've never heard of them. Have you heard of them, Matt?
Nope, news to me.
Let's have a look. Well, that's very impressive that you just did the old German. The only German I know is Ich verstehe kein Deutsch, which, as far as I know, means I don't understand German. Okay, I think
no German would understand it because that was so bad.
I know, it's the pronunciation. My wife's grandparents were German, but they moved to right. Okay, so this is it. Okay,
kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's got those hands like the Formex hands.
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. What is the deal with these? Oh, Wind Up Watch Shop is an authorized and exclusive retail partner. Huh. Okay.
Well, it's better than the normal distributor of German watches in the US who are useless.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The ones that have all the brands over a barrel. They will remain nameless. So we don't get in trouble. These are different dial variants. Okay. So what is it using? It is using, does it say?
LGP, I think somebody said.
Oh, Le Dupre. Okay. Okay, so that's
I thought I caught in the comments.
SW400 on this one is $1,600. Okay. So the SW400, I presume, is like the dateless version. It's funny because that logo looks like it's reminding me of that mug root beer for some reason. Purist.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Not really my style, but it's at least in the blue. They've got a good blue.
Yes, yeah, I like that. I was trying to find that one because I'm a big sucker for ones that have got the date on them. But maybe it doesn't have the date.
Or maybe there is.
There we go. One. There with date. Yep. There we go. Okay, we like it now. Now it's got the date with date. There we go. In fact, it's got a quite nice date, hasn't it? That seems like it's oversized from there.
I like that one in particular because it doesn't have stupid numbers on it. Just got very neat indices. That's a nice watch.
Fume dial. No, good chat. I'd never heard of them before. So Thomas, Doug. Okay, so Thomas is saying
I should nudge you towards the Le Bond Attraction. So its company is Le Bond, and their new watch is the Attraction.
Okay, let's have a look. If I could type this right, let's have a look. This up. This on here.
That's the one.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about this because I own a Le Bond, and I think they're a very quirky brand. But I have the Caesar.
You have this one. Yeah. Okay,
And
so this is their new one.
this is their new one. So their sort of idea is to have links to architects. So this one is celebrating Antonio Gaudi, who passed away 100 years ago. Most famous, I guess, for La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. And this is a watch based on designs of an unbuilt hotel that was supposed to go into New York.
Interesting.
This is, yeah. And if you want to spend 1,600 on a display, 1,600 euros on a display for your watch, that wooden thing, it represents the core of the design. So that's extra. You don't have to buy it.
This thing.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
I think it's a cool watch.
So, okay, so is it that this is over the hands, or is it that this is one of the hands?
The disc covers the central pinion for the hands.
Okay.
And then, but look at this for grade 5 titanium. You do not see casework like that for much less than Blancpain money on grade 5 titanium. Look at the smooth curves. Look at the side shot.
Yeah. And it's all sandblasted, it appears like.
Yeah. Which is, I think all their watches have sandblasted titanium cases. But this is the most sophisticated case they've made.
Very
But you don't
interesting.
normally see curves like that on grade 5 titanium. So that just geeks me out, just the working that they've had to do for that. Nice looking watch.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's a new one on me. Okay. Let's have a look here. So we've got
Micro mil spec?
Yeah, I really like these, I got to see I like the look of them, and then I actually got to see one at Wind Up and I liked them even more. Little on they're little on the chunky side, to be fair, but I like them. So this is the one where for a long time they just made watches for the military, and you had to be either in the military or they had to have been issued to you, but then they recently, I think over the last couple of years, they've opened it up to be where civilians can buy them as well. They are a really good looking watch. They're not they're tall or thick, but they're not obnoxiously big. I'm a huge fan of these. Did you get to see these at Wind Up, Mark? Did you see that go to the stand?
I did, but I'm not sure I paid much attention. I'm getting kind of tired, and I think Tom Burnett, who's been to Watches and Wonders 3 times, he's saying I think he said it was getting a bit samey. But fine, Wind Up now, there's 140 brands, and 100 of them are selling the same watch with a different logo.
Yeah.
So it's getting tougher and tougher to find the gems at Wind Up. It's because so many watches follow the same trends. Everybody's less than 39 mil, etc., etc. But these are pretty good.
Yeah, so Thomas is saying it was issued to the Norwegian military. Yeah, I like this one. I would actually love to get one in for review. I spoke to the guy, but admittedly, I never followed up with him. But there's an actual world time bezel, isn't it, with the names on there. But yeah, I do like it. Yeah, I do like them a lot. Okay, also grade titanium. Awesome. Let's have a look. Have we got any other questions coming in? No, Thomas is just talking about the German brand. There's quite the buzz. I was chatting to my mate James. He lives in Australia, but he's from the UK. He's liking that Seafarer, and he pointed towards the tag Seafarer, and he was pointing towards. He was saying, "Oh, Adrian at Bark and Jack talked about it," and I said, "Yeah, but he actually tagged the wrong." My view, he tagged the wrong watch. He did tag a Hoya in it, but he didn't tag the watch that I think this is based on, which is the Abercrombie and Fitch. So he actually tagged a different watch in his review, but this is the one that I think it's actually based on that he didn't mention. So I'll mention it here, which is this one. So I'm talking about this tag here, which I think is beautiful. I really like this. And then they called it the Seafarer. And he tagged a Hoya that was a 3-hander and said that's where it took the inspiration from. But I'm going to argue the fact that it actually took its inspiration from this Abercrombie and Fitch watch, the Seafarer, which these are, I think I wonder how many of these people don't even think are valuable because it says Abercrombie and Fitch on it, and they don't remember that Abercrombie, or they don't know that Abercrombie and Fitch used to be an outdoorsman sportswear shop before it became a fashion brand. But these are quite valuable, these ones. They had Hoyer movements in them, so that's the link. What did you think of this? Did you like this one, Mark? I know we talked about it last week, didn't we?
I liked the 41 mil glass boxes. I think they're called, which were introduced at LVMH Watch Week.
Oh, these ones.
Much more my size, particularly the blue. So it's a very similar concept, but I could see that being added to the collection should things come the right way, because I think that's a lovely watch, and it would be an alternative to all the Omega chronographs. I think that's a very subtle piece, and at 41 mil, it's much better size.
I wonder if there's any, because I bought this tag from Japan and bought it from eBay in Japan, so I wonder if there's any Japanese sellers that are selling this one yet. There's one for Japan. Oh yeah, so it's $1,000. If you buy it off Chrono, you kind of chance in the fees, but on eBay, I had to pay the import fee up front for this watch, but it still worked out miles cheaper. I think this one is a really good shout. This is a Bamford tag, and you can get them from Japan for like less than $2,000. Well, there's one that's 2,500 from Japan, but I think this is like a future classic. The Bamford Aqua Bracer. I think it's from 2009, maybe. So maybe it's more recent than that. It doesn't have the date. But yeah, I think this is a tag future classic, especially with it being Bamford, a Bamford one. Let's see if this one says where it's from. Oh, it doesn't have the date on it. I think it's early 2000s. 2001. Okay, so it's not that far away. But that one kind of flew under the radar for me originally. It's titanium as well, I think. Okay.
Kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. And it's a decent size as well. I think it's 43 millimeter. So up your alley. Comes in the Bamford
I still
box.
think the average size of a watch in my collection is approximately 42. Might be 41.8 millimeters, but that's the average size. And
yeah,
yes, for my 6.7-inch wrist, I have a smaller than average wrist. I don't care.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because this is 42, but I think it wears more like a 39, whereas my Bremont is, I think, a 39, but it wears a lot bigger, but also it is a lot taller. Do not understand the Bamford thing. Well, Bamford is sort of like Barabbas, or it's like a tuning company. It's sort of like a car tuning company, I would say. So like Barabbas, or I can't think of the others now. Mopar, or those other ones. Is that what you would?
It's Brabus,
AMG.
not Barabbas, but there you go. But I get what you mean. He's a customizer.
Yes.
Or originally was a customizer, and then has done a lot of collaborations, and I suspect quite a lot of consultancy with brands as well.
Yeah.
I don't always get the watches he's made. At one time, I forget which watch, might have been a tag, you could go on to his website and customize it in real time.
Yeah, you can actually still do it. So if you go,
I never found I could do better than the original anyway. So it's just like, okay, let somebody with taste actually do that for me.
Yeah. So this is what you're talking about. This is the
I'm thinking of the Monaco.
Yeah, where you can do the old build your own.
And it's just not a good idea to have me do it. I realized that I have no taste whatsoever when I did this. So just let somebody else do it, because I'm only going to screw it up.
Here we go. Let's see if I can make a truly ugly one. Let's see if I can make the ugliest one going. There's maybe green subbed out. Oh dear.
Oh, that's pretty vile, Sam. I mean,
this is
even I would buy that. That's how bad that is. Not even I would buy
it. So somebody's saying, where's like a 32? Yeah. I think it's just because it's hang on, let me just pin my thing. I'll show you what I mean. I think it's because it's it's basically because this tag has like a shorter lug to lug. If you see, it's not this is a bad thing because I've got this rubber strap. See, it's like a shorter lug to lug. So I think it looks more like a 38 than a 42. Also, I think because it's sort of like the bezel is sort of hexagonal as well.
Yeah, you have to think of the interaction between the bezel and the dial sometimes too.
Yes.
Omega Aquaterras, I would, normally pick a 41 Aquaterra, but I can't wear it. They just look too big on my wrist, whereas the 39s look like 41s on my wrist. It's very, just irrespective of the lug tip to lug tip, sometimes just the dial itself can make, the dial bezel arrangement can make them look bigger or smaller. Depends on the individual.
Yeah, and I've not measured this. I've not done the review yet, but I'm guessing that's like 12-ish. And it's a 300-meter diver. So I think it's got a flat sapphire crystal on it. It's fairly flat on the back. But it's very comfortable. I think it belongs on the metal strap, to be honest. I think the metal strap sort of completes the silhouette of the watch. Because I thought when I got it, I'm going to have to I'll see if I can get the actual official rubber strap for it. But I think I think it does suit the metal the most.
That is truly hideous, Sam. Congratulations. Monaco is truly unique.
Hey, this is my next collab. my tag, my Hoya collab.
Dear.
Yes. Yeah.
That is exactly. Truly hideous. I am thoroughly impressed.
I know. Look, that just came natural to me as well. Just making it that vile. But yeah, he also does. I mean, the other thing with Bamford as well is that he's done some stuff where he used this. Let me see if I can find it. He did this one that was amazing where he took, I believe it was a cable or something from a nuclear. This was it. So this case is made, I believe, from a cross section of a high voltage cable from a nuclear power plant or something. And he took a disc, basically, of the cable. These are all the individual wires, and this is the outer copper, I think, or bronze. And he made it into a case. I wonder if it's actually got... It doesn't really have like a lot of blurb about it, but there was a whole thing about it at one time. Let's have a look if it says it here. But he's done Gerard Perregaux, Frank Mueller he's done. These are all the collabs that he's done. Done the gold tag there. He used to do mainly tag. Oh, there's that one, sold out. So there it is. Here it is. So it is. Let's see if you've just got it. It's got the case material for the project is a solid superconductor. Superconductor is a blanket term for a family of materials that superconduct. Traditionally, superconductors are used in application transferring massive amounts of electrical energy is required. MRI machines, particle accelerators, even nuclear reactors use superconductors as simple power cord would, of course, not suffice. The superconductor we've used for this collaboration is comprised of tight orientation of silver, metal, and copper housing. Yeah, so it's made from a cable, superconductor cable. I'm glad I remembered that correctly. Otherwise, that would have been a bit weird. Okay, so let's have a look. Next question is from Velocity. Is the SYN tagamented process proprietary, or is it a marketing speak for an existing technology? As far as I know, it's existing technology because Damasco use something similar. Am I right in that?
Damasco use ice hardening.
Okay.
I think at one time, tegamenting, didn't that come from the making submarines?
Possibly.
I believe it's a form of case hardening. So it's a niche process within general case hardening. It is their proprietary process, but I think they've carved a niche out of an existing technology for that.
So
I've never really looked into it, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah. So I thought Damasco, which is another. If people don't know, like Damasco is another brand that is. It used to be more talked about in the same vein as ZYN because it's also German and it's a family-owned business. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about Damasco anymore,
except for Mark from Long Island Watches, who distributes them in the US.
Yes, of course.
Well, he sells them. I don't know if he distributes them, but he sells them.
Yeah, because the problem with I'll risk upsetting people here, but I think the reason that ZYN isn't as popular as it should be in the US is because of the only way you can buy one online is through watch buys, unless you get them on the pre-owned. So they don't have a wide distribution. You can't get ones easily for review. Okay, so this is Damasco, and they use ice hardening, I think. But yeah, you used to hear a lot about Damasco, but I've not heard about them for ages. This was their classic design. I think they're made
It's a
to order.
shame for the German brands. I think Zinn, Damasco, Tutima as well.
Okay.
But they make great watches, but they're really really hard to find. So you can't see them, and you sit there and go, "That looks like a fascinating watch," but I've got no, not going to buy it online because I'm not that familiar with the brand. Not, and they're hard. They're hard to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same problem that Mido have. Mido make great watches, but you can't find them to look at.
Yeah. Ice hardened stainless steel. There you go. That's what I was getting. Yeah, because for the Zinn, I've been to like one of those ones where they invite you to like a hotel, and then you can see all the watches there. Tagamented process is an added Zinn process. Okay, so I think the steel itself is labeled as submarine steel, and I think the tagamented process is added by Zinn. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. Okay. Well, we're coming near the end of time. Thanks everyone for being so active in the things. You got any final thoughts, Mark, before we wrap it up?
Nope.
Cool.
It's interesting chat as always.
Yes. Yeah. Guys, thank you so Mark, thanks for joining me. And guys, thank you so much for all of the great questions in the comment section. And we will see you next week. Also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because I've interviewed Justin, who joined us last week. He's worked in the watch industry for like 15 years. He's worked at Rolex and Tudor, and we did a video specifically on Tudor. I'm just editing it now. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to release it this week. It's really fascinating about who really does buy Tudor. Are they an enthusiast brand, or does the general public also buy Tudor? So I think you'll find it fascinating. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk Live. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one all.